You've seen them, right? Those trucks on the highway carrying live animals. But have you ever stopped to think about what kind of rules they have to follow? Well, it's this whole hidden world with a very specific rule book. And today, we're going to break down the official guidelines that are designed to protect these animals every step of the way.
Okay, so this is it. This is where it all comes from. And this isn't just some friendly pamphlet with a few suggestions. No, this is a formal government order straight from the Department of Agriculture. Think of it as the official blueprint, the actual rule book for the road that lays out every single part of an animal's journey.
So that really gets you thinking, doesn't it? Every one of those animals is on a journey. But who's in charge? Who's making sure that trip is safe and, humane? To figure that out, we've got to look at the entire process, right from the very beginning.
Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to move animals, we have to understand the philosophy behind it all. The entire set of rules is built on this really important foundation called the 5 freedoms. This is the why, the reason all the other rules even exist.
These 5 points are basically the ethical compass for the entire operation. It's about freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort and pain, freedom from injury and disease, freedom to just behave normally, and freedom from fear and distress. Every single rule we're about to talk about is there for one reason, to make sure these 5 freedoms are protected.
A safe trip doesn't just happen, and it's definitely not the responsibility of just one person. The regulations make it crystal clear that this is a team effort. So let's meet the key players who are legally on the hook for the animal's well-being.
So you can see right here, it's a clear chain of command. You've got the carrier, who's the planner, the driver, who makes sure the truck is safe, the animal handler, who's providing the hands-on care, and finally, the receiver, who's there to safely accept the animals at the end. The main takeaway here? Animal welfare is never left to chance. It's a planned, coordinated process with real accountability.
You might think the trip starts when the engine turns over, but you'd be wrong. For any animal, a successful journey actually begins way before that. Careful, detailed planning isn't just a good idea, it's the law.
And at the absolute heart of all this planning is this document, the journey plan. This thing logs every single critical detail. Where the trip starts, where it ends, info on the truck, even what to do in an emergency. It's like the trip's official map and contract, all rolled into one, making sure everyone is on the same page.
And to make sure that plan is actually followed, there's this simple but really effective 3-copy system. One copy is for the planner, the carrier. The second one stays with the driver for the whole trip, and the third goes to the person receiving the animals. It creates this perfect paper trail that follows the animals from the second they leave to the second they arrive.
Of course, a great plan doesn't mean much if the vehicle isn't up to snuff, and the rules are incredibly specific about this. The truck has to have a working phone, it has to be totally free of sharp edges, it needs non-slip floors and good ventilation. It even needs a first aid kit. And look at that last point. A big, clearly visible live animals label is absolutely mandatory. It's a signal to everyone on the road.
Okay, so the planning's done, the truck is prepped, and everyone knows their job. Now we're finally on the move. And this is where some of the most important rules kick in to protect the animals while they're actually traveling.
This slide really gets to the heart of it. The rules are so practical. On the do not side, it's just common sense decency, right? No dragging animals by their tails or legs, but on the do side, it's just as clear. Use proper ramps, use proper cages, and do the whole thing quietly and calmly. It draws a really clear line in the sand between what's humane and what's absolutely not okay.
I want you to look at this number, 12. This is one of the most important figures in the whole document. Why? Because according to the rules, 12 hours is the absolute maximum amount of time an animal can be in transit without a break. It is a hard stop designed to prevent exhaustion and unnecessary stress. You know, sometimes legal documents can be pretty dry, but then you read a line like this. It's so direct, so powerful. There is zero room for misinterpretation here. The end of the journey has to be just as humane as the start. It's a simple, forceful command that really shows the respect at the core of these rules. A journey isn't just about moving, right? It's also about the stops, and the rules think about that too. They mandate protection from extreme weather. So if it's hot out, that truck has to be parked in the shade, and it needs to have as much ventilation as possible. It's such a common sense rule, but it makes a huge difference in preventing suffering.
So, after going through all of these details, the plans, the people, the truck specs, the handling rules, we can kind of step back and ask the big question.
What's this all for? What's the big picture?
When you get right down to it, this whole thing is so much more than just red tape or bureaucracy. It's a complete system. It's designed to take that idea of the 5 freedoms and make it a reality on the highway. It creates this whole network of responsibility so that from the moment a trip is planned to the final destination, the animal's well-being is always the #1 priority.
So the next time you're driving and you see a truck with that live animal sign, you'll know. You'll know it's not just another vehicle. It's part of a planned, documented, and regulated journey with really specific rules for safety and humanity. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know what goes on behind the scenes, what are you going to see differently on the road?